Sorry about that. I didn't get to see you there. So, anyway, hello there.
Hello there.
I am XTH, and let me let Laura say it for me. Hold on a moment. Okay. Hi, I'm XTH, and
welcome to my humble abode.
You said it, Lara. Now, have you ever wanted to know what I step into every night when I go to bed? Or when I'm playing games with friends?
You are dead! Not a big surprise.
No? Well, you clicked, so you're gonna see it anyway, damn it. You're gonna like it. But, on a serious note, let's get started. So now we are on the right side of the door when you walk in. So I'm gonna go from top to bottom. So this is a painting that a friend of mine did for me. Her name was Sabrina. As you can see, she's a pretty damn talented artist. So she did this for my 17th birthday, so it's been quite a while. So this is it up close. So a lot of this is based on our role plays together, back when we used to do them, but you can see a couple of things you'd see on the channel, like Super XTH from the Mario and Sonic Stop Motion Super Show. You'd see just the V3 design of XTH. Sorry, no, this is a V2 design. This was before the V3 design, which is right there, and then the V1 design down there. Then you have, out of all things, a goddamn XWF reference. That's when I actually had the trampoline to be able to do that stuff, but man, I love this so much. I've had it up on my wall for years, and I have no interest in taking it down. So this is actually one of 3 of these 3D printed logos. I have this one, I have a Walt Disney Pictures one, and a Sonic Adventure 2 one. You will see the other 2 later. So I actually 3D printed these myself using my Anycubic Cobra Neo. These were sort of a test to see how well I've calibrated my printer. This one came out super nicely, I think. The thick paint layers that I did to help hide the layer lines from when the 3D printer was doing its thing. So now here's one of a couple of ones that I have in this room. These are disc plates. This is sort of a recent obsession of mine. I don't know who did it off the top of my head, but I'll put it up on screen. This is just a beautiful looking 2D Sonic portrait. I absolutely think this looks fantastic, and I am super happy to have it up in my room. Okay. So these are some of a lot of action figures I have here. So you have some Star Wars figures here, some Figma figures here, and some Nendoroids down here. I love the visual coherency when it comes to Nendoroids. So many characters from so many IPs, and yet they all look like they could come from the same thing. I love it. First, this is a Darth Vader figure I've had for eons. Probably noticed his camera is gone, and that's because I'd used it for another figure. I think it was actually Darth Sator. So, as for where this Darth Vader comes from, I don't remember. So, editing XTH here, I actually found it. Here it is, the Star Wars Black Series number 06, Darth Vader. So it was released in 2013, and I could be wrong. I think it might have come out to help commemorate 30 years of Empire Strikes Back, since it comes from the specific scene at Bespin. But I can't verify that, to be honest with you. So this, I'm fairly sure, in fact I'm pretty sure, is a Saga Collection Episode 3 Obi-Wan. This one I've also had for a while. Not as long as the Vader one, but I've had it for a while. This Dooku, along with Darth Maul and Emperor Palpatine, are all from the Evolutions pack. It's a 3-pack. I don't see anything else. So here's a Darth Maul from that pack. His lightsaber can break into two to simulate the moment in Episode 1 where Obi-Wan fucking goes. Okay, so this Ahsoka actually is a vintage collection figure. Had this one for a couple years. She's a Clone Wars one. This is one of the things I like about the vintage collection that I was talking about with the Nendoroids, is that it brings sort of the animated characters that are in a wholly different style. It brings them into the more realistic style of the movies. So here is my Emperor Palpatine figure. I love the soft goods robes that he has. They make it look really high quality. That's what he looks like without his hood. So yeah, this is very much based on Revenge of the Sith. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this Evolution set came out right around the time Revenge of the Sith was actually coming out in theaters. So this is a Saga collection. Oh my god, you piss me off sometimes. Alright, editing XTH here to save the day again. So this is not a Saga collection Anakin Skywalker. This is a vintage collection Anakin Skywalker that came in a comic titled Star Wars Obsession in a 2-pack with Dirge.
You're welcome.
Maybe I'll see if I can get that Journey of Darth Vader Anakin Skywalker figure. Because I would love an Anakin that doesn't have these really stupid swivel elbows. I think it's just really, really dumb. I have him doing his over-the-shoulder back guard pose that he does with Obi-Wan. Okay. So time for the Figmas. I wish I had more of these. God, are they expensive. This is Satsuki Kiryuin. I don't really talk about this much, but one of my favorite anime I've ever watched is Kill La Kill. I watched it maybe 10 years back or so, and I was absolutely obsessed with it for a while. Maybe I'll get a disc plate of it or something, but yeah, this Figma absolutely rocks. And I will guarantee you this will not be the last time you see these two characters. Also, god damn, is she caked up or what?
Damn, boy, he's thick!
Okay. And now for her sister slash mortal enemy slash eventual ally, Ryuko Matoi. Personally, I prefer Matoi as a character to Satsuki, but that's just because I usually prefer the heroes to the villains in stories. But yeah, this Figma absolutely rocks too. Like, the amount of articulation she has is absolutely insane. And I love that she comes with both halves of the scissor blade instead of just one. And yes, by the way, both those Figmas are real. I used to have one of the fake Figmas of Ryuko, and the paint job was so bad that I had to get the real one, and I ended up throwing out the fake one. Like, truth be told, her boobs straight up look burned. Like, they're like this really ugly yellowish color. Okay, so I suppose this one's for you, Jessica, but this is my Shantae Nendoroid. I actually believe I pre-ordered this one. You can probably tell that she likely somewhat, at the very least, influenced the eventual design for Sapphire. So this figure I really want to get replaced because she is unfortunately a bootleg. You can kind of tell by some of the paint fuck-ups, but this is the Suicide Squad version of Harley Quinn. Despite being a bootleg, she is super well articulated. Honestly, the two major problems I have with this figure are A, the joints don't like to stay in very nicely, and B, well, like I was saying, the paint flubs. Other than that, this is a pretty nice figure, especially for a bootleg. And I can say exactly the same things about this Wonder Woman, because she, like Harley, is a bootleg. This figure especially has a hard time with not only her joints staying on, but her accessories too. I just had to put her shield back on her arm right before I filmed. So this is another lesser known, let's call it obsession of mine, but this is Sakura Amemiya from the 2019 Sakura Wars game. Or for us Americans, it'd be 2020. But yeah, man, something about the blue and pink on her kimono just really works for me. As for the character she's fighting, this is the original Sakura. In this case, being Sakura Shinguji from the older Sakura Wars games on Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcast. And of course, when you have Sakura, you can't forget her Kobu. This thing looks like it's more than ready to blast some shit up, huh? So, that's gonna be this wall for the moment, besides this Mario hat. So let's move on to this corner. Alright, so besides my video playing in the background, this is what else I wanted to show you. So I'm gonna go from top to bottom. So at the top, I can't take this one off, unfortunately. This is another drawing from Sabrina. This might be my favorite thing on any of my walls, to be honest with you. There's a couple contenders there. This again just goes over a lot of the roleplays we've done. So you have something like the double boost from Sonic Forces, which coming off of Mario and Sonic Stop Motion Super Show kind of makes sense. And also coming off the back of the Ruby's Return. So you've also got a nice little logo with my character's two main colors up there. You got Super X versus Striker. You got some shots of Sabrina's OC at the time. Her OC's name was Agent Amy Rose. So she was more so a gun agent than just a regular hedgehog girl. So as for what this says, I will read it to you the best I can. It's in super, super small handwriting. So it's gonna be a little bit hard for me to see even with my glasses. I'm blind as hell either way it goes. From the moment I became a Pinga thing, I knew we were going to have a fun friendship. This friendship is one of the best I had yet. You have helped me through hard times when I needed someone, and I am thankful for that. You're my best friend, and I hope it's the same for me. Thank you for being that shiny crystal in my heart. You shine brighter than anyone I know. I don't know what I'd do without you. Sometimes you just have to sit back and sort of think about where you are in life right now and what you had back then versus what you have now. And anyways, so she drew this on June 24th, 2018. So, shows you how long I've had this up here. So back there, sorry, the TV is kind of blowing it out. So back there, a little promo poster for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That is actually something I got from college. When I was in college the first time, I had a class called History of Video Games. And the professor there, oh my god, I loved him so much. He was so easygoing. I'll put his Facebook right here. Michael, if you're watching this, thank you so much for this. And I had so much fun in your class. I really did. Down here is where we have all the fun stuff. So I'm not going to go into what's in these drawers. It's just like miscellaneous stuff in this one. Wires in this first one, controllers there, and some clothes in the other one. But so here is my PSVR 2. I also have the first one. It's like down there somewhere. I absolutely love this thing. I just wish that I had the energy to use it more often. So, this is my DualSense Edge. If I'm playing my PS5 for any reason, this is the controller I go to. I absolutely love the back triggers. Not the ones that are like the Xbox, but the other ones that sort of come out more perpendicularly to the controller itself. It's super easy to rest my fingers on. Here's my PS5 itself. This has a custom middle sticker and custom plates. These are from D-Brand. And I love the unique look it gives my PS5, but I also hate the fact that you know, since these are from a third party, all of the accessories for PS5 are gonna default to the white plate since that's what they ship with. So this is my Nintendo Switch 2. So I've got an NES skin on it right now. And if anything ever happens to the skin where I feel the need to take it off, I also have a nice little Galaxy skin in one of the drawers on either wall. So right here, let me move the controllers out of the way, is actually a Sega Dreamcast. So this one has been modded with a GDMU, and it has a blue shell on it. So this one I keep up here, since, you know, if I'm playing this, I'm gonna be on my bed. So it makes sense for me to have these wireless controllers, which are the Retro Fighter Striker DCs. These are so much better than the original controllers. So much better. Like you wouldn't believe. If you have a Dreamcast, get these. They're worth it. They're like, I think, they're about $50 each, I think. Worth it. In every sense of the word. Very worth it. Alright, so up there, I'm sorry it's dark, there isn't a whole lot. Actually, maybe there is something I can do about it. There. Maybe that helps a little bit. What we've got here is an Apple TV there. This is the only bit of Apple tech you will ever see me having, and it's only to play Sonic Dream Team. That's it. So there are some Logitech speakers. I will throw up the model right here. And down here is a PSVR 1 I was talking about. It's just kind of been sitting in this corner for a while. I honestly should probably get it up because it does kind of look hideous. And speaking of PSVR 1, I also have the aim shooter. This one I believe was from the Farpoint bundle pack. So here I think is where we have some of the fun stuff. So these two are Mario and Luigi Nendoroids. Like I was saying earlier, I've got a fair few of them, and this ain't even the last time you'll see them. So I've also got Tracer. I would bring her to you, but honestly she's looking right at you anyways. A Diva Nendoroid. There was a phase I was going through where I was like really into Overwatch, even though I barely played it. And it was actually another Nendoroid I wanted to get. I honestly don't even remember her name now. And I'd bring you down Mario and Luigi, but their backgrounds are attached and everything, and it'd be a huge pain in the ass to get it back up. So, I'm sorry. But I can bring you these guys! So, this is my Sonic Nendoroid. This is a real one. This actually came from the re-release they did. Not the easy re-release, but the re-release that they did a couple years later. Actually, they did it, I believe, when Knuckles here came out. It was either when Knuckles came out or when Tails came out. By the way, it goes, here's your boy Knuckles. High quality figure as always. Honestly, the kind of plastic they use does almost make it look like fur. It has that sort of like perfectly matte, almost dusty looking finish to it. And yet another one of my likings that I don't usually talk about is Crash Bandicoot. These are based on their It's About Time designs. So here's Tails. Man, I like this figure, but I absolutely hate the way his eyes look. I don't know if I can quite put my finger on what I don't like. I'm not sure if the irises and pupils are too small, or if it has something to do with how kind of small his eyes are, or how spaced apart they are. I think it has something to do with how spaced apart they are. Yeah, I don't know. I like this figure a lot. I just don't like its eyes. Here's another really great Nendoroid. Ya boy, Shadow the Hedgehog. So he does come with a damn fourth Chaos Emerald. It's over in between Sonic and Knuckles over there. So I have Shadow running with Tails behind the tornado. That's that background. And on the other background is a Master Emerald Shrine. I'm kind of recreating the Sonic Movie 2 scene between Sonic and Knuckles when they're fighting. So here's everything a bit closer up. So over here, This poster I got from Gabe's, and it just has some command supports holding it up. Over on this shelf, we kind of got some of the fun stuff again. Let me see if I get this right. This is a T-65 X-Wing Starfighter. It's a cardboard model, and I believe it is from... I believe the brand is Real 4D. Super nice looking model, and it's probably the best you'll be able to get when it comes to cardboard. And in front of the X-Wing is the Darth Vader transformation set. This is a Lego set that came out in 2016, and it has a couple of really nice features to it. So, in the back, you put Darth Vader's helmet right in between these little silicone bits. You can push the little medical table into it so that it attaches Vader's helmet onto his head. Let me see if I can demonstrate that for you real quick. Hold on a moment. Okay, so this is essentially how it works. There we go, trying to make sure I'm in focus here. So this is essentially how it works. So you can take the lever here, you can push it down, at the same time push this part up. You can stick Vader's helmet onto him. So when you pull this off, Vader's helmet doesn't go with it. You push this bit inwards, and it lifts up the operating table. You could definitely get the helmet on there a little bit better. But the other thing I really like about this is if you put the helmet back down, you can twist it to reveal the burned version of Anakin. Kind of works like how the older 2005 one did, but this set is quite a bit better than that. Much more detailed, and actually, you can see it's shaped like the Imperial logo, which I think is an amazing touch, and I think it's actually how it was in the movie. So these three are Lego compatible figures. I guess you could call them bootlegs, sure. But there's a Mace Windu that I believe is modeled after the one that is in a Republic fighter tank from 2022. It's got does not have the arm printing though. So this might be a Windu modeled after a different figure. I don't know. Clone Wars, General Grievous. And another figure, Aayla Secura. Is the Boba Fett Slave One or Boba Fett Starship Microfighter. It's actually got the Boba figure right in it. Behind that Microfighter is the Republic Striker Class Starfighter, released in 2012. So it probably gives you a pretty good indicator of how long I've had this thing. So unfortunately, isn't 100% complete. I've managed to break off quite a few of the pieces in the years that I've had this. And I've also lost most of the official figures. The guy in here, the guy in the cockpit, is original to the set, though I went through a phase where I couldn't buy like actual Lego figures, so I was trying to modify my existing ones to them. That's why his print is so faded. That's actually residue from a piece of paper. Yeah, I'm not quite in the business of ruining my Lego figures anymore. So the Satele Shan and Darth Revan figures are both Lego compatibles, but I just thought that they looked so good that I wanted to have them there anyways. So this is a Polybag ATST. This kind of also clues you in on some of the things I like to do with my sets. I like to take as many of my extra pieces as possible and just find places to put them. So my models usually never look exactly how they look when you actually put them together. Next to it, I have a small Star Wars Episode 2 battle scene. So all these three are Lego compatible. There's Count Dooku, Obi-Wan, and Anakin from Episode 2. I think these are pretty damn fantastic looking figures, so I kinda wish Obi-Wan had more of a nougat color for his hair, just so that he fits better in with the way that LEGO normally does it. Other than that, I think these look pretty damn good. So this is a Mandalorian Fang Fighter from the Mandalorian Fang Fighter vs. TIE Interceptor set. I honestly don't really care about this ship because the Mandalorian... This wasn't even in the Mandalorian for very long now I think about it, but even if it was, I never really bought the Mandalorian hype necessarily. It's still a cool ship to have, you know? And now we come to the infamous Captain Rex's Y-Wing Microfighter.
Ooh, Mario's Tunnel of Doom. Very scary.
This set is infamous for having the UCS version of Captain Rex in a microfighter. That's pretty much why I got this. I don't really care that much about a Y-Wing microfighter, but I wanted the figure. I really like how detailed it is. And now I have another set of LEGO compatible figures for a small battle scene. So in this case, it's General Rom, Coda, and Starkiller, both from the Force Unleashed video game, which is one of my favorite games of all time. The first one in particular is absolutely fantastic. On a side note, I don't know why Coda's lightsaber looks blue. It definitely is green. And it looks properly green in person. Okay, so on the second shelf, we first have Poe Dameron's X-Wing. This was a polybag. Now we have probably one of the more underrated sets that I have in my collection personally. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter, released back in 2022. It's the only Delta 7 Starfighter I have. This is the Bark Speeder Escape, I believe released in 2024. So it's Kylo Ren Beck with Grogu in his pram, and a shock trooper chasing after them. And crash land, and they all die happily ever after at the end. This is just a small little battle set I made. In the back there is Rey and Emperor Palpatine from the end of episode 9. In the front is Darth Maul versus Ahsoka, sort of before season 7 ever came out. So Rey, Palpatine, and Ahsoka are all LEGO compatibles, but that Darth Maul came in this Sith Infiltrator. This is a microfighter. Okay, so now we get to the really fun stuff. So this is the newest set that I have at the time of recording. This is the 2022 AT TE Walker. This is actually due to retire at the time of recording just a couple months from now, in summer of 2026. Thing to find out for sure. So we'll be sending that back down. There we go. Fix that leg. So this actually is probably one of my more favorite sets that I have in my collection. More so just because I really like the color scheme. I think the red and white really works. So this is Ahsoka Tano's Jedi Starfighter. Or I guess you could call this a Jedi Interceptor. I think that'd be a closer to accurate term. But LEGO just usually calls them Starfighters. This is Anakin's. But since I didn't get it with its actual figure, I used the Season 5 Anakin that came in Ahsoka's Interceptor. But this one is my favorite of the Interceptors, simply because I like this piece. I think this piece looks really nice. Nicer than the one on the Ahsoka's, but I like the window design of Ahsoka's more than this one. Let's bring you in a little closer. Because what we have here is just a small battle diorama. So you have the gift with purchase, Battle Droid Troop Carrier, released in 2024. This is a part of the 501st Battle Pack set. Most of this is from the Clone Trooper and Droids Battle Pack that came out, I believe, in 2024. This is a microfighter AAT. So this Anakin Skywalker came from my original Anakin's Jedi Starfighter. It broke years ago, and I never knew how to fix it. So I just kind of held on to this figure ever since. And this is another Dooku of mine. This is a Clone Wars Count Dooku. This one being a Lego compatible figure. So you can probably see a trend here. I have absolutely no problem getting a bootleg if the original figure is either super expensive or not very available. Which in this case, it's both. Official Lego Dooku figures are much more expensive than I really want to pay. So back there is a stat, also from that aforementioned 2024 set. Back there is a spider droid, which I think also was a part of that set, or maybe it was a part of the 501st. I can't remember anymore. Hell, I barely remember what I had for breakfast today. Leave me alone. So these two over here, let me see if I can grab them without disturbing anything else. This is Asajj Ventress and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Both are early seasons Clone Wars variants, and they came in the V19 Torrent, released in 2025. These are some of my favorite figures in my collection. They are so detailed. They look so fantastic. And now that they've had that slight moment of reprieve, they can get right back to fighting. I would say fairly inarguably, it's probably the better side. So here I've got the 2023, I think, X-Wing. There's the two little pins right there that you pull them out and you can attach the wings of the TIE Fighter onto. Yeah, so this is that set, the mashups. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, or I guess X-Fighter versus TIE Wing, if that's the way you want to say it. So now we have probably my favorite, if not second favorite set in my entire collection. So this is 2024's The Dark Falcon. It has some of the coolest Lego figures you'll ever see. I'm not gonna open up the front there, but I will. I will open up this hatch there. I'll keep it back open. So, just a couple of the figures is Jedi Vader, which is such a cool damn concept for a figure. I'm surprised Disney never did any sort of like what they did with the Marvel What Ifs. I'm surprised they never did that for Star Wars, because that would be a perfect candidate. And then fighting him is Dark Rey. I'm surprised that we never got this kind of thing in like a $30 set for Rise of Skywalker. Just like a small, very small interior of the destroyed Death Star 2 with Dark Rey in it. I don't want to spend too much time on it. That's the Dark Falcon, one of my favorite sets I have. Absolutely fantastic. This is the ARC 170, released in 2025 to help commemorate the 20-year anniversary of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, my favorite Star Wars movie, so you absolutely know I had to get this. Get you back in there. Okay. So one of the other sets, released in 2025 to commemorate the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, is this V19 Torrent. This is the same V19 Torrent that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about that Obi-Wan and Asajj Ventress. Yeah, the wings are small. There's not a very good way of getting around that, and it does make it look really, really, really dumb when it's in its landing position, especially with this kind of perspective. Like, it just makes this look even smaller. It looks fantastic. I really can't complain. I just wish that it had the same wing mechanism that the 2010 one did, where you could put down and put up all three wings at once. Other than that, I quite like this. And I also like displaying it tilted like that. Makes things a lot easier. This one, man. This is another one of my favorites. This is probably my favorite ship in all of Star Wars. The TIE Interceptor. This just has such an aggressive looking design, and I'm so happy LEGO made another one within my lifetime. Another play scale Interceptor. So this came out in the Versus set with the Mandalorian Fang Fighter that I showed you earlier. This set released in 2023. And there's a little TIE pilot in there. This is one of my favorite ships to just sort of swoosh around whenever I'm bored. Alright, I'm gonna move you one more time so we can get to the side. So I don't want to lift this one, so actually I'm gonna lift the camera instead. So this is the final duel set released in 2019. This, as far as the sets go that are on land, that's my favorite. It just has so many cool little play features that you could do quite an amazing job of replicating the fight that Luke and Darth Vader have in Episode 6. Or in my case, Emperor Palpatine is trying to fend Luke off with his own lightsaber and blast Vader lightning with his other hand. So in front, we have the Sith Infiltrator. So this was released in 2024. And it came with 3 figures, Anakin, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. Really makes you wonder why it didn't come with Obi-Wan or the Tatooine version of Padme or anything like that. The Sith Infiltrator that I used to have, the 2011 one, did actually come with some of those figures. And I think it also came with Captain Panaka. This is probably the tie for my favorite set in my collection. This is the 2024 Star Destroyer. I don't want to move it a whole lot because I'm kind of scared I'm going to bump into something else and then everything will just come tumbling down. I already did that like twice with this V19 turret alone. But this is another one of my favorites that I have in my set. So back there is a mess. It's just my cubby hole. I use it for storage. It's got a big ass Sonic and Mario figure up there. A WWF Championship. If I could find somewhere on my wall to put that, I would, I swear. In fact, I can go ahead and give you a closer look. So this WWF Championship, I got off eBay. It's definitely not official. But I do really, really like it. And I also think it looks pretty damn good on me.
You ugly fat shit.
So back there, besides those couple of things, it's just a whole bunch of boxes for figures that have accessories and things like that. And the 2 Ultimate Lightsaber sets that you saw in the previous video are also back there, along with a couple miscellaneous things. So as I was talking about earlier, one of my obsessions is Sakura Wars, and I've had these 2 posters up here for ages. This is poster art that I believe came from Sakura Wars 2, released in 1998. So this one is the newest game, Sakura Wars 2019. This is the one I was talking about that Sakura Amamiya Nendroid coming from. So this is my bed. Don't know what to tell you. It's a bed. Platform bed. Queen size. What I can tell you is that my mom decided a couple years ago to get me, I don't remember exactly what these are called in Japanese, but it's an anime body pillow of Sayuri from Doki Doki Literature Club. And if I'm doing a room tour, I might as well be showing this to you. So on my bed, you'll always find this blanket. This was gifted to me from my mom a few Christmases ago. It's never left my side since. If I've gone anywhere, chances are I'm taking this with me. Truthfully, I just love this blanket. Especially this silk on the edges. This is something I picked up from my mom too. It's just super satisfying. Okay, so since this is on my bed, I might as well tell you about this too. This is white Twix. Hands down, my favorite snack ever. It's fantastic. Though for some reason they don't sell these in the US anymore, which is really fucking annoying Because now the only place I can get it from is Amazon. And these bitches are $50 for 20 of them. And they have no right to be that goddamn expensive, but they're so fucking good. Anyway, here's my TV remote. It's an average TCL remote. I don't know what to tell you. What probably is actually drawing your eyes is what is behind me. All this. So, let's start from this wall and come around. So this is an MDS Mega Child's Play 2 Chucky doll. So I got this at FYE at the same time as I got the Tiffany doll up there, which I'll bring down in a moment. I really wanted to get the Bride of Chucky version, but this is the only one they had, other than the Child's Play 3 version, and I opted for this one instead. I do still think he looks pretty good next to Tiffany, even though he's not from the same movie or really even the same era. So this guy talks a little bit, as you can see from the big butthole in the back.
Playtime's over. You've been very
Just imagine with a yardstick in his hand. You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell. Then I was saying you're on Pornhub before you know it. I've had this Chucky for maybe a year or two. He's been up there ever since. He's had no problem standing and totally hasn't fallen on me multiple fucking times, you piece of shit! So this is Tiffany. This is a seated Chucky version. Like Chucky, I would have rather gotten the Bride of Chucky version. Editing XTH here, man, I don't know about that. I know I said that in the video, but truthfully, something about these angles doesn't make this figure look exactly flattering. But she can also say a few phrases.
I love you, Chucky. Hold still, honey. I'm gonna poke you in the eye again. Well, at least you haven't forgotten how to tell a girl a good time. Oh, Chucky. Yes.
I don't know you have that line. And no, before you ask, you can't pull down the bra part of her dress to reveal doll nipples. Don't ask her, I know that. Okay. So right here are a couple of NECA figures. So the one on the very left, you get to see in the drawing in the meantime, but this is the NECA Chucky Ultimate figure. So I have 3 of these in total. I have the classic version that comes with a whole bunch of heads, which you'll see in a moment. This one is on a TV show of Chucky. And there's the back of the packaging. You can't tell, I'm a bit of a Chucky fan. Child's Play, besides Halloween, is my favorite horror franchise ever. So this is the other one I was talking about. So this is more or less a 4-in-1 Chucky. He comes with heads from Child's Play 1, Child's Play 2, the pizza face at the end of Child's Play 3, and the stitched up look from Curse of Chucky. So, show you there. What I find really cool about this, all the NECA figures have this, but I really love like the poses that they give you everywhere on the box. Oh, I suppose I should go grab that other figure. You know what, while I'm over here, let me show this to you as well. So this is actually a birthday present I made for a friend of mine. Her name's Kayla, and this just kind of details a whole bunch of the stuff from her own history. Used to play Fortnite a lot, sometimes she'd rage quit at it. This was a role play, or her and I lightsaber fighting. This one was a reference to a drawing I did back in 2015. This little comic panel is a reference to a drawing she did back in 2015. Just something sort of generic. You know, a couple extra characters filling out our little family tree. A sister character next to me named, well, literally Xavier. And next to me is Kayla as she appears now, with a character more based off of her human personality named Kia. And then the character on top of her shoulders is based on her cat named Takia. But this has always been my favorite part of the whole thing. I met Kayla in 2014 and I finished a drawing in 2020. I love how Kayla has always managed to reinvent her character. She's always given her character a different look, and I'm glad that she stuck with, let's call it, modern Kayla for this long. But the design that you see on the left is, I'll call her classic Kayla. This is the design that I met Kayla with. So if you happen to be watching this, Kayla, well, this one's for you, madam. So this is the Michael Myers figure from Halloween 2018. This one is also made by NECA, just like the Chucky ones. And there, I like to have him with this little Judith Myers tombstone. Alright, so now that we're done with that, now I can show you these. So these aren't actually curtains. These are blankets. So these are some blankets that my best friend and stream moderator, by the way, check out the streams. I stream almost every day. I stream gaming, I stream drawing, I stream VFX. Check out the streams when you get a chance. Anyway, she made these for me a while back and I could not be happier with them. Oh, and one more thing about her. Here's her Instagram. Go follow it. She's a fantastic artist that did this drawing of Sapphire for me. So whenever I get around to finishing up the books, you will know who Miki is before too long. And this one is essentially the same thing. So this is more so movie poster inspired, where it's one character on one side, the other character on the other side, looking at each other with opposite expressions. Alright, so looking over here, these are the other two 3D printed logos I was talking about. Sonic Adventure 2 on the bottom, and the older Walt Disney Pictures logo on top. So I have the Disney Pictures logo there, not because I'm a huge fan of Disney. I used to be, not so much anymore. But that's more up there to remind me of my roots as a YouTuber, doing logo remakes. And, you know, that SA2 logo, obviously I'm a damn Sonic fan, and I like SA2. And it's pretty simple. And before I move on to the final wall, well, next to final wall, there, just wanted to give you a bit of a better look at the Chucky figures up there, and this Ari picture. So I printed this out while I was in college. I was just kind of looking to see how nice their big-ass printer was, and their big-ass printer is pretty damn nice. And there's the original art for comparison. So now we get on to another one of the fun stuff. So, yet another one of my more understated loves, DDLC. So, I've got all 4 of the DDLC Nendoroids. So, Natsuki, Monica, Yuri, and Sayori over there. So you can get a better look at her. I'll take the Star Wars logo off. So in front of them, see, I told you, this was the last time you'd see Satsuki Kiryuin and Ryuko Matoi in my room. And like I said, I love Nendoroids. But this is the last time you will be seeing Nendoroids. So next to them is a Star Wars logo made of Lego. This was released in 2025. Man, 2025 is a pretty decent year for Star Wars. Not the best figures all the time, but the sets are usually pretty damn solid. So here we've got the TIE Bomber and the other half of that mashup set I was talking about earlier. 2024 TIE Fighter. So next to that, you've got an Imperial Shuttle Polybag, the 2025 Plo Koon's Jedi Starfighter Microfighter, and a 2020 Duel on Mandalore, the small $20 set that depicts Ahsoka vs. Darth Maul. Now here, you have the Death Star Escape set, and I decided to put a Lego compatible Darth Vader in there with Obi-Wan so you could have the Episode 4 duel there. Meanwhile, on the other side, there's the Death Star Trooper. That's a fire a cannon. Next to that is the Dark Trooper attack set. I believe released in 2022. And there's a Lego compatible Sabine Wren figure over there. So here is 2016's Duel of the Fates set. This is another one of my favorite sets that I have in my collection. The prequels are my favorite trilogy of Star Wars movies, and this is one of my favorite duels of all time in Star Wars, so I think you can probably do the math there. This one also has quite a nice number of play features. I can't show you them all because it's a pretty tight space in between this and the other Lego sets. I can show you that these lasers do indeed turn, and it has this little push thing for it. You can make characters jump out of this cavern. There's a lever, I think it's on the other side. If you tap it, you can make a figure jump out. And there's a couple extra things which I can't really think of at the moment, but that's okay because we're moving on anyways. You can tell this is when I started to get back into Lego. This is 2019's Duel on Starkiller Base. Not really a favorite set of mine, but I do really like lightsaber duels. They're my favorite part of Star Wars, so I had to have a set like this. So this is Obi-Wan's hut, released the same year as Duel on Mustafar in 2020. This actually opens up to reveal that Luke, for some reason, has fallen and he can't get up. Call life alert.
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
You have Obi-Wan and the Tusken Raider on top, battling for supremacy, while this lazy fuck is in here sleeping. Somehow with his lightsaber turned on in his hand and he doesn't die. And finally, for Lego sets, we have, again, tied for my favorite set I have, Duel on Mustafar. Part of the same sort of $20 battle line of sets. Another one that has a bunch of features. This can come up. You can flip this lava piece. No, you can't. But anyways, you can actually flip this all the way onto the other side to depict when the whole thing comes down and Obi-Wan and Anakin are sort of hanging onto the side of it. And then you have these two platforms that can both spin, and they're also on rails, so you can sort of depict these two fighting in the lava. It's just a shame you don't really have much of a good place for high ground. That'd be fantastic. And this definitely should have came with the third figure, that being burned up Anakin. Other than that, this is a really nice little set, and I'm glad that I got it when I did. You know what? You're just gonna see it like that for a moment. I'll fix you up later. Okay, so here's my little nightstand. Push that pillow in. I got my drink of choice, Propel here. Have my book, Astaria. This is actually not the most current version of the book that exists. That exists in a Google Doc. I did this a couple years ago because I was super proud of it when I first wrote Astaria. But I still like to have this because I like to have the version 1.0 of this book. But I would definitely want to redo the book though. Update the art and all that. So this is a sheath for this lightsaber right here, actually. This comes from Crimson Dawn. I highly recommend them. I've gotten quite a few sabers from them. They're always super high quality, and if there's anything wrong with the saber that you got, Chancellor Omega has no problem helping you out. So these are all my lightsabers. Just have the blades on here for convenience's sake. So I've got some custom ones, some named characters, like Darth Maul, Anakin Episode 2, Luke Episode 6, Obi-Wan Episode 4, Jedi Dooku. This one is supposed to be from Star Wars Visions. Leia's from Episode 9, Obi-Wan's from Episode 1. This is a saber I was using to harass Thor with in the last video. Mace Windu, Episode 3. The Youngling Slayer 9000 itself. Anakin's Revenge of the Sith lightsaber. So, I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, well, aren't you going to turn on all these lightsabers at the same time for us? Your answer is Some of them are dead, but there's most of my lightsabers on. So which one out of my collection is my favorite? Well, truth be told, it's kind of a toss-up because I really quite like Luke's. I also really like Leia's. I also like this one from Crimson Dawn. I also like these two. But if I absolutely had to pick one, I think it might come down to Luke's. This is like the most comfortable lightsaber, but when I have this in my hand, I feel like a Jedi. Like when I have this in my hand, this has a good amount of weight to it. It feels like when I swing at somebody, I am cutting their arms off, despite this being just a NeoPixel replica. I feel like if I swing at you, and like some extremity of yours is in the way, boom! Nope. Fucking whelp for 3 weeks. That shit's gonna hurt, it's gonna bruise. I might straight up injure you just by swinging this shit at you. And not to mention, I think this is absolutely a gorgeous looking lightsaber. This is a version 2 that's been floating around for years. Most namely I can think of on the Genesis Custom Lightsabers channel. And I got this one specifically because I really like the gray and black. I prefer this look to the copper necked look. So, here's an obligatory lightsaber stance. Alright, last section of the wall. This isn't going to take too long. So, this is a Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's not technically a display. It's called something else, but it's pretty much a display. This is an actual display. This is one of my favorites I have right now. This is a 20th anniversary Revenge of the Sith display. Right there. 20 years of Revenge of the Sith. Here, this I got from Nintendo's site. I paid, I think, like 800 platinum points or 1,000. There's this one and there's a matching one in the computer room. But this is for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I just thought this looked so lovely and it looks even better in person. And this one is one of my older posters that I have. This is just a sort of generic classic Sonic poster. I got this at the Galleria Mall when I went there one time with my sister. But this art, I believe, is some Sonic Chaos in this background. I don't know if this is unique or if this is actually from something. But I think that's all I have for you right now. So, this is XTHHedgehog. I appreciate you watching. Now I'm gonna go get to cracking on this video. See you later.